Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. It's good to see we got some people in the chat. As you guys are coming in, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that way it'll get it out in the algorithm and more people will come in and join us. If you'd like to become a member of our channel, become a Titan, we'd love to have you. I'll put it in the chat if you guys would like to join before we get started. I'm doing pretty good. How are you today, Teresa? How's everybody doing? Oh, I could hear the birds. They're doing good too, it sounds like. Let me turn on my camera here. Here me is. I will drop the link. I dropped it in the beginning in the chat, and I'll drop the link throughout the chat if anybody wants to come up and talk about this case, because it's a doozy. It's a new one we're going to be talking about. So put a 1 in the chat if you guys have heard of this case that I'm going to be talking about. Trent Lehrkamp, I don't know, hopefully I'm pronouncing Lehrkamp right, but Trent Lehrkamp is his name. Put a 1 in the chat if you've heard of this case. Put a 2 in the chat if you have no idea. Did you hear the birds, CRB? I know, sometimes they're loud back there. I have the window open, so you guys have, okay, good. Good, okay, good. It's 54 there, Jan. It is 58 here. It's really nice. So, okay, just a couple people don't. That's good then. Okay, good. I'm glad that people are covering it. Yeah. So that's what they're calling it, is a hazing, but this goes like well beyond anything I've ever seen in my whole lifetime. I saw it like I want to say it was either last night or the night before on News Nation. And I was like, what? Like, shut the front door. What's going on? Because I was coming in here, I think, to do a live, and I turned around and I was watching it. And Vincent's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm watching this. I was like, what is going on? And so I watched it. Oh, so we were counting if you had heard of Trent Lehrkamp. I'm going to have to keep looking at his name. Trent Lehrkamp. If you heard of his case yet. If you put a 1 in the chat, that means you've heard. 2, that means you haven't heard. But that's the case that we're going to be going over. You're not too tardy. Swirlies and freezing underwear. Exactly. That's what I thought. I know that when I heard a really bad, this was like a hazing story. This was one of the only ones I ever really heard of, but it was, they made this guy drink too much water. And he ended up drinking so much water that he drowned himself. But that was back in the early 2000s. And I have never heard of anything of kids this young. This is on a whole new scale. So as you guys come in, don't forget to hit the like button as I ask you to every time. And I did say it on the chat or on our members only last night that I was going to cover this case today. Because this one is just, it is terrifying. It's terrifying to know who you think your friends are, really. So let me get his picture up here so you guys know who I'm talking about. This is Trent. This is Trent here. Now, there are more pictures I'm going to show you. So before we get started, I want to let everyone know that this case is horrific. So huge trigger warning. I will try to remember to, continue to tell you trigger warning whenever I, get to the pictures and stuff like that. Let me check something really quick. Sorry. I want to see something really fast. I think I forgot to grab something up on here. Oh, nope, I didn't. Okay. And Trent here, he is from Georgia, and he is 19 years old. I almost called him 20. 19 years old. I don't know what's going on in some of these states, but I feel like Georgia's a big one. Idaho, Utah. I don't know. But y'all get your crap together. So basically, Trent Lehrkamp was hanging out with a group of teens last Tuesday when some of them reportedly, made Trent down excessive amounts of alcohol and other substances. I heard that it was I've heard shrooms and then I've heard depressants. So I'm not sure what the substances were. But a picture is circulating online that he appears to be unconscious. He's bound to a chair. He's covered in spray paint, feces. I think people urinated on him. I'm trying to be good with my words here, but YouTube's going to probably just hate my life anyway. It's just one you have to talk about. It's hard to not say those things. They had, what else? They covered him in paint. I believe he had glue on him too, but I'm not sure if this was from this instance or it was from this first instance. And we'll get to that because I have the whole incident report as well. So stay tuned for that. I will show you though the picture that they had him when he was taped in the chair really quick. I'm not going to leave it up there very long. Now, these kids are all pictured in this one. I know some of them, they're not pictured, but I'm putting them out there because if they want to act like adults, they can be treated like adults. It's the most disgusting and most vile and most I have no freaking words for this shit. It's disgusting. WD-40, all of it. Yep. Teresa, who comes up with it? So, like, let me put him back over here because it's just so disturbing. It's so disturbing. So, who the hell comes up with it? Like, who sits around and says, hey, let's get Trent again tonight? Like, it's fun. Like, I've never, in my 37 years, and I mean, I went to high school. I was a kid, you know. And feces. Like, that's... Like, how disgusting are you as a person to do that to another person? Like, think about it like that. Like, if I was a girl and I was looking at them dudes, like, doing that to another guy and, like, no way in hell. Well, and these teens think they can get away with a lot, too, because these teens are also very prominent. Their parents are very prominent in the area. So we've been doing some digging. And I feel like the parents are just as much to blame as the kids are. I don't care about it, and I'm saying it. I'm not a parent, but what the hell? If your kid is like doing this to another kid, then you messed up somewhere in the parenting tree. Like, I don't know. I don't even know. He has been upgraded. Yeah, so he has been upgraded. He was in a coma. He was getting 6 breaths per minute. Try doing that. I was like, I took 6 breaths in like the 6 seconds I was trying to do 6 breaths per minute. I was just like, oh my Lordy. But, oh no, you're not too late, Ina. But yeah, so that was the trigger warning for that picture there. There's only one more and he's in the hospital, so it's not like as bad, but it is still pretty triggering. 3 of the teens in this whole fiasco decided that they had enough because they drove him unconscious, tied him, they took him to the hospital. They drove him to the hospital. So I want to show you, that's another incident report for another case that we're working on. That's for Sarah Wandra. So you'll see in these videos that I'm going to share with you guys too that they did some horrific things to this kid. No, he didn't die, which is a miracle. This created a hailstorm. Like, this is another, I feel like it's almost like another Murdoch, like the way the kids are like from prominent families and they're all trying to keep it hushity. And then, of course, the internet has an outrage when you see a picture like that. And these are the times it's thank God for the internet, because apparently they can't get charged with attempted murder, which I think that they should because they had him tied down. They were feeding him liquor and pills and whatever else. But I think they should get him like torture, kidnapping. I mean, he was tied to a chair. He could not get up. That's kidnapping to me, if I've ever heard it. It's okay, Margot. I understand. Yeah, no, I understand completely. And I don't know in the videos if they show a lot of this stuff. I've watched the videos like 4 times over too. Yeah, hopefully no brain damage or long-term effects. That's the only thing, just because of the fact that he wasn't breathing very well. That's the only thing that scares me. And that's just, and his hospital bill, I don't even want to know. And they have a GoFundMe started and it's raised already like $104,000. That's not even going to cover a month in the hospital. without surgery. And I know that from personal, you know, I was in the hospital for a month after my car accident, and it was like 89,000, I think, before surgery. They didn't count the surgery or the anesthesia. So this just happened last Tuesday, not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before, I believe. So it's been a little over a week. And I'll play you guys this video too, and it'll give you a little bit of a better understanding of what's going on. And then I'll read you the
all new this morning at Glen.
And then I'll read you the actual incident report from the night that they took him to the hospital. It's extremely hard to read, but I'm going to read it to y'all. So it'll give us like really good details on what. Over 5 times the legal limit. Yeah, summer. And yeah, ICU will be more expensive, Isabel. I was only in ICU for 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 or 4 days, 4 days, 5 days, a week, maybe. Not too long, but it's extremely expensive. So I'm just grateful that people are able to give to this GoFundMe and help this, you know, help this kid out. Which I think that these parents of these teenagers should be paying these hospital bills, but you know, that's just me. That's just my opinion.
All new this morning, a Glenn County teenager is in the ICU recovering nearly a week after an apparent case of hazing. I do want to warn you, the details here are beyond disturbing, so certainly we want to preface this story with that. We have been learning that he was dropped off unconscious at the emergency room of a hospital on Tuesday.
Investigators, in fact, say that he had a mixture of drugs and alcohol in his system. News4Jax reporter Joe McLean is joining us now live. And Joe, a GoFundMe campaign has now been set up for this teen. And the GoFundMe suggests that he was with people he thought were his friends.
Right, and this story has generated a lot of attention. News4Jax, we actually got a bunch of emails over the past 24 hours into our inbox telling us about this case. The person who set up that crowdfunding campaign for this 19-year-old says the teen was subjected to what they described as torture, humiliation, and abuse. Now, we're choosing not to share the name of this teen or his photo just for that teen's privacy. We're also not showing any of the graphic pictures and video that investigators say were from previous incidents. Those pictures and videos kind of being shared around on social media and online right now. According to the Glenn County Police Department, this all started at a house party on St. Simon's Island on Tuesday night. This 19-year-old was brought to the emergency room by 3 other teens who left before police arrived. Investigators have identified several other people they believe were involved in the incident at this party, and they're still conducting interviews right now. They also interviewed the 19-year-old himself now that he is awake. At this point, authorities haven't made any arrests in this case, but the videos, police say those videos that are circulating, police say those are many of those are from past incidents, as I said. So the GoFundMe says doctors initially placed the teen on a ventilator because he was only passing 6 breaths a minute, not getting very much oxygen. It gave an update on his condition late last night, saying that he was awake and stable. Again, that's as of last night. This incident happened Tuesday, but they say the teen is still battling for lung function right now. It's also very clear that they said he's panicked and very anxious. Anyone with information on this is asked to contact Glenn County Police. You can also come forward using the Silent Witness program. We've got that number to contact on your screen, and we'll also have it inside this story on news4jax.com. Reporting live, I'm Joe McLean, Channel 4, the local station.
Sometimes it'll play something else and then sometimes it doesn't. So I was hoping that it didn't. Okay. Let me just move it over to here. And I'll close that tab out. So yeah, so this, and I forgot to tell you guys before that started, this isn't the first time this happened to this kid with these same friends. Just the week prior, the same guys did horrific things to him, which you'll hear in some of the videos. They just tortured the crap out of this kid every time that he was around there. And it's sad because he kept going back. Like, he couldn't find other friends. And that's like really sad. I have heard online, and I don't know how true this is, But I've heard that he's autistic. And so I don't know if that's true. And if it is, then maybe that explains why he maybe felt the need, like he thought he, had to go back and hang out with them. I don't understand it. It's just, it's really, really sad. Yeah, like they were just doing such bad things. What exactly are parents in school teaching these days? Because it's certainly not to bully and abuse. Yeah, no, not at all. And like, I've never heard of like, back in my day, if you were going to fight, it was never like a bunch of people on one person. It was one on one. I don't even remember ever seeing really fights when I was a kid, like in high school and stuff. We just didn't have them. Like, you know, they found him a soft target. That's what it was. He might be on the spectrum. Yeah. I think that's something like that. It's so sad. I'm going to read over this report. I'm going to try to make it bigger or maybe make it smaller. Oh, maybe it doesn't matter how big I make it or how small I make it. It is just going to be super, super fuzzy. So I'm going to read this the best of my abilities. If you're watching this on replay, be good, dear girl. Okay, because sometimes people will be like, you couldn't read that right. And I'll just be like, dude, you couldn't see it. So it says subject. This is the police report for the night of, so this is the incident report taken by the first officers to come in contact with, Trent Lehrkamp at the ER. These statements were given by Trent's father. So they're, very true. So let's see here. Maybe if I put me down here, maybe that'll help a little bit. Okay, so it says narrative. Assault Officer B. Reyes. The date was 3/21/2023. So it was Tuesday the 21st. On the date listed above at around 22:40 hours, I responded to 2415 Parkwood Drive, Southeast Georgia Health System. While en route, dispatch advised me that someone in redacted wanted to make a report on the hazing that occurred somewhere on St. Simons Island. Dispatch had no information after that. Once at the hospital, I walked to redacted. I observed a white male lying motionless on a hospital bed hooked up to a ventilator surrounded by Mark Lehrkamp, his father. And then it says redacted, but his sister and his stepmother. I walked to the nurse's station and spoke to Dr. Redacted and Nurse Redacted. Stated around 8:30 p.m. to 8:45 p.m., a white Jeep Wrangler four-door pulled up to the ER. 3 occupants got out of the Jeep, saying that the male in the back seat, later identified as Trent Lehrkamp, was unresponsive after drinking vodka and antidepressants. I guess it was antidepressants. Well, that's what they said. Redacted went to the rear of the Jeep and opened the door and found Trenton lying unresponsive with shallow breathing. Redacted observed that Trenton's clothes were soaked with urine. Trenton had spray paint all over his body and hair with small bruises on his left shoulder. Or a small bruise, on his left shoulder. As Redacted got Trenton out of the vehicle, the 3 occupants identified as Redacted kept asking if they were free to leave. Redacted asked them if they could write their names and phone numbers on a sheet of paper in case Redacted had any more questions. All 3 agreed and then got back into the Jeep and drove off. Redacted stated that Trenton's breathing was 6 times per minute. Trenton could not breathe independently, so they had to sedate him and put him on a ventilator. So that's probably when they put him in the self-induced coma, I'm assuming. Redacted also noted that Trenton's blood alcohol level was at a 0.464. Okay, now I think I said this in the live last night. My father died, and he had alcohol in his system. It was a car accident, but it wasn't his fault, even though my dad had a lot of alcohol. He was 4 times the legal limit, and it said on his paper that he should have been dead, like dead. But on here, it must have been his age, or was he in, like, I don't know. Oh, AZ, you're funny. Rewind it and put it on 2x speed. Oh my gosh, you guys are hilarious. There was something you said in the chat the other night and had me laughing so much. It really did. Because I knew you weren't serious, but it made me laugh. Man, so yeah, his blood alcohol level was a 0.464. Oh my Lord. There you go, Isabel. Comment of the day. It's time parents acted like parents and stopped trying to be their kids' friends. Yep. I wonder how, oh, let me see that. Maybe, I don't know how, I don't know the height. I'd say 5'9" to 5'10", maybe 160, 180. But that's just guessing, him sitting down and stuff. Maybe if I could see him looking, we find a video of him standing up. Well, they're saying attempted murder might not be they might not be able to charge him with attempted murder because they took his ass to the hospital. That makes no sense to me. Just because you know what I mean? No, you did all that before. But if this is a big but, if somebody that dropped him off maybe wasn't like the guys, like if they were just like someone at the party and they were just like an onlooker and they were like, oh no, and they grabbed him and they took him, maybe then the people that were at the party can get charged with attempted murder because they didn't attempt to get him help. But this is just insane to me. And then, so it goes down to here, and this is when he starts talking to the father. It says, I first spoke to Mark, who stated that the last time he saw Trenton was earlier in the day at 4:52 p.m. So he saw him at 4:52 p.m. and by 8:30, 8:45, he was dead almost. Couldn't breathe on his own. 3 hours, 4 hours, not even out of the house long. Wow. It says that he saw Trenton earlier in the day at 4:52. Trenton was perfectly fine and went to his friend's house. And then it's redacted. Later that day around 8:40 p.m., redacted told Mark that something had happened to Trenton and that he might be at the hospital. Mark called the hospital and asked if Trenton had been dropped off. The hospital staff informed Mark that Trenton was dropped off and Mark needed to get there immediately. When Mark arrived, he saw that Trenton was on a ventilator. Mark stated that this was not the first time Trenton had gone to Redacted's house and returned hurt. Last Friday on the 17th, 1, 2, 3. So 4 days before, Trenton came home covered in WD-40, vomit, paint, glue, egg yolk, and spray paint. Mark stated that Trenton seemed high or drunk, and 2 weeks prior, Mark had to take Trenton to the emergency room because he came home with a severe laceration above his left eye that required stitches. Mark says that whenever Trenton goes to Redacted's house, he never returns home normal. Mark states that the reason why Trenton goes over to Redacted is that Trenton has no other friends. That's so sad. That is so sad. Where was I at? When Trenton is at Redacted's house, he is accepted and with people he thinks cares for him. Mark also believes that since they are younger, my microphone's in the way, than Trenton, he might think that they look up to him. Mark also said that Trenton would not fight or defend himself against Redacted or any of the other juveniles because Trenton knows that since they are, and then it goes here, minors, if he hurts them, he will get in serious trouble. That's a stupid way to think. If you're 19 and this punk's 17, knock his ass out. That's what my daddy would say. If someone puts, actually, you know what? Take that back. If anybody puts their hands on you, I don't care how old you are, these hands are going to go back on you. I don't even know. That's just a terrible way to I feel so bad for Trent. It breaks my heart, It just breaks my heart, like that he thought that way, like that he didn't feel like he could defend himself even, because he's thinking in his head, like, I'm going to get in trouble because they're younger and they probably said that to him. Like, Trent, you better not say nothing or we're going to say you did this. I can see it now. I can see it. This ain't going to be the last one of these. So, you know what I mean? Like, this is going to be the last that we hear about this. So it says, Mark also states that Trenton had recently been to, and it's all redacted. Mark has photos and videos of all the past incidents where Trenton has come home from Redacted's house hurt or covered in objects. Mark also has a picture of the location where Trenton's phone was pinging, which shows Redacted's house. I also spoke with Redacted, who stated that the last time she talked to Trenton was on the phone at 5:48 p.m. for 43 seconds. Redacted stated it was about a missing Minions toy she was trying to find for their little brother. So this must be their sister. Trenton said that he would return it to him, then hung up suddenly. I'm assuming this is sister. Sister didn't think anything of it and carried on with her day. 2 hours later, at around 8:39 p.m., she got a message from Redacted on Snapchat stating, and this is the N word with an A. I'm not going to say it. Nigga. Oh my God, I know you're sick of hearing it, but like I wasn't there, but like Trenton is effing dying apparently. Redacted asked Redacted where, and he replied, take a guess, Redacted mother effing, Redacted basement. Redacted then checked her brother's iPhone location and it showed that it was pinging at the hospital. While Redacted was en route to the hospital with her father and mother, she got a voice message from Redacted stating what had happened to Trenton and that Redacted had told Redacted what they did. I hate these Redacted names. Mark was able to give me video and photos of past incidents with Trenton returning from Redacted's house, and Redacted provided me with a picture of the Snapchat message from Redacted and the voice message she was given while en route to the hospital. As of 12:19 a.m., March 22nd, 2023, Trenton is still on a ventilator and moved to ICU. No charges have been given at this time. Video and photos uploaded to evidence.com. Oh, that's where they were. Okay. Nothing further at this time. Whew, I need a drink after that. This is extremely brutal. Brett, you nailed it. Yeah. You nailed it. I think that they have to be able to at least do torture, kidnapping. I don't even know what the charges. I'm not a lawyer, but like this is just insane. Assault, battery. I don't even know. Assault has to be the highest they could probably go. No, I'm the same way, Stevie, or everyone. Like I must have lived, me too. We didn't even have like fighting in high school where I went to high school. Like we didn't even fight. Like no one fought there. I remember one time a student punched a teacher. I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny, but it was. The teacher was kind of an ass. He kind of was an ass. But that's the only thing I ever saw. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but my parents always taught me to stand up for myself. Do you know what I mean? Like my dad, as a little girl, little tyke, I remember my dad saying, what do you do if someone hits you back? Or if someone hits you, and fight, my dad would be like, you fight back. You don't let him do that. Like, don't go looking for it, but don't let someone just beat you up at the same time. You know what I mean? My dad he was only in one fight his whole life. And he said some guy wanted him to fight him. And so it was like back in the 70s. So it was like meet me at the peach tree kind of deal, And my dad tried to get out of it because he was as skinny as me, small guy. And the guy wanted to fight him. So he found my dad, and my dad ended up punching him one time because my dad was like, I was scared. So I punched him before he could punch me. He's like, and he knocked his 2 front teeth out. So after that, nobody messed with my father. I guess that's all you have to do. But yeah, bring the cowards over here. Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to have some names too. I don't know why they're all redacted, but I know that they do have some. Scorpelina. And welcome everybody that's in the chat. Felon assault, Jim said, yeah. This is worse than hazing. I think this is hazing. Normally, to me, when I think of hazing, like somebody goes in it wanting to do it. Like, even if it's like, because it's like for fraternity or sorority, or it's, you know, like something like that. Like they'll drink a bunch of alcohol because they're like, they want to get in, or they'll drink a bunch of water, like I was telling you before, and like, you know, the guy died, but because they want to get into something. This guy, he didn't want to do this shit. He was tied to a chair. Like, oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Yeah. He wasn't able to say, yeah, he wasn't able to do anything. They were just, I can't even imagine this poor little guy. Like, you know, I mean, it's just, ugh. Hi, Amanda. You're coming in for a doozy. This one's a doozy. We're talking about Trent Lehrkamp. If you haven't heard, he pretty much, well, he was tortured by his so-called friends. And we're going over that case right now. I know that this is going to blow up even bigger. I know this is going to be something, you know, it has to. Duct taped to a chair. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I couldn't even imagine being duct taped to a chair and nobody even messing with me. Like, I would be going crazy just at the thought of that. So I'm going to show you the next video here. But I did see this outside of the courthouse, or the hospital, I'm sorry. There was a bunch of people there. They just like showed up and they're all like holding candles, and they had like this beautiful like thing for him. And now people are protesting, and like, he can hear us now. I'm pretty sure, because he's, you know, I think he's out of his coma and stuff. So if you can hear us, you know, we're here, we're rooting for you. Like, you have friends. You have a whole country of friends now. And you know, this reminds me of, every time I think of him, like thinking about the friends thing, I think of Michael Vaughn. That day that he went missing, he just went out to look for a friend to play with. It's always the saddest, like whenever you hear about stuff like that.
Crowd protesting outside a hospital. They're asking for justice for a 19-year-old who's fighting for his life. His parents say he was forced by other teens to guzzle vodka, be tied to a chair, and then have unspeakable things done to him after he passed out. What some are calling hazing, others say is simply torture.
Justice! Justice! There is outrage today as a teenager fights for his life in the hospital after a savage hazing. The young man was dropped off at the hospital by some teenagers he had been hanging out with. He was barely breathing. His blood alcohol level 5 times the legal limit. He was covered in spray paint and urine. They split before cops arrived to investigate. Police say this photo of 19-year-old Trent Lehrkamp was taken that night. It shows Trent passed out on an armchair, covered in paint and garbage. The teens behind him are making obscene gestures. And his family says it wasn't the first time those so-called friends had targeted Trent. This video was posted on social media a week earlier. It shows Trent being taunted by the teens. He sits in a lawn chair, taking the abuse, while being sprayed with a garden hose. Trent's father says his son returned again and again to hang out with the teens because he has no other friends.
They knew that what they were doing was wrong. Obviously, you know, they're not children. Even children wouldn't do something like this. This is heinous. It's crazy.
Trent's plight has struck a chord with other families whose children have been victims of hazing. Danny Santulli was left severely handicapped after a frat party at the University of Missouri. That's Danny in the green blindfold with his fellow pledges. His family says he was told to finish an entire bottle of vodka in just a few hours. He suffered severe alcohol poisoning and was left unable to see, walk, or speak. His aunt, Chrissy Prelu, helps care for him.
This is getting to be such an epidemic, you know, that these kids are not learning. They're not learning that what they're doing is so harmful to these children, and you can die.
Cops in Georgia say they're investigating what happened to Trent.
If a picture could say 1,000 words, then the 1,000 words that picture would say was, that's a horrible incident that occurred.
Yeah, isn't that, well, I think that was nice that they were all protesting in front of the hospital like that. Oh, I was trying to read the comments. Huh? Yeah, like they best not cry child when they were drinking alcohol when not of legal age. Exactly, to buy. I wonder who bought the alcohol. I heard I don't know. I heard that a parent was there, and I'm not sure where I heard that. So I have to look into that, and maybe actually on one of these videos, because I've been watching these. I've watched these videos a few different times, but it's sick. So back when I was in high school, I remember, and I thought these were the cool parents. I'm not gonna lie. But we had groups of kids in our schools that their parents were more prominent, and they could drink at their house, like their parents' excuse was, well, if you're here doing it, I know where you're at. And at the time, when you're a teenager, you're like, oh, that's really cool. That's like awesome. That's so cool. But looking back on it as a 37-year-old adult, I'm like, what was their freaking problem? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because any one of us could have gotten alcohol poisoning. We could have gotten hurt, and that would have been on them. Like, but yeah, no, I always thought my parents were like not cool because they, my parents would never let me do that, which I never really, when I was younger, yeah, I mean, I had my moments, but I never really had I never went too crazy. Well, I guess in my 20s I did for a couple years. Oh, you're welcome, Arlene. And like, and then the house that they were in, it's ginormous. It's gorgeous. I'll have to show you a picture of it if I can find one. That they think that was the house, but we all had that house growing up. Yeah, and I felt like with us, like we always had somewhere where we could go if we wanted to do something crazy, but most of my friends, they all grew up to be actually really good people. They weren't spoiled rotten like these kids. They would have never have done anything like this. Do you know what I mean? We would have just had a couple beers and probably passed out. Like, these kids are torturing each other, or one. Like, who comes up with the damn idea to do this? Like, are you just sitting around? You're like, there's so much stuff that they put on this guy. It's like ridiculous. I just don't understand how you get in that mindset. Why are there not been any charges? Jan, that is a great question. And we're going to watch the press conference because that press conference had me a little heated. He doesn't seem like he wants, I don't know, the cop I don't know if it's the chief police or whoever he is, but he just doesn't seem like he wants things as bad as the rest of us. So this here I got off of Twitter. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. He's like always, he like always, I'm trying to explain. He always talks about this case. He was on the Quentin Simon case as well. Can't think of his name. Brett Buffington. I was trying to find it really quick. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. I'm sorry, Suzanne. The Murdoffs. Yep, you're absolutely right. And that's what I said too. I felt like this was like another Murdoff. But there's 5 of them. I think 4 or 5. I have to check the picture. 4. Do you ever notice they're always in groups too? You always have to have a group if you're going to try to be a baddie. Like, be a baddie on your own, Thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate that so much. So I'll read this to you. So this is just them saying that they're aware of the situation, pretty much. And it's from the district attorney. Because, in this case, the district attorney has to be the one to file charges, and we have no charges. So it says this is from March 28th. Today's the 30th. The district attorney's office, I was trying to make it bigger, is aware of the incidents that occurred with regard to Trent Lehrkamp. We have met with law enforcement agencies that are investigating the matter, and we continue to communicate with them as they are working to gather all the available facts and evidence. As the facts become known, we are researching criminal status statutes and procedures so we can determine what laws are applicable to the facts. Okay, I like that. I like what I'm reading so far. Our objective is the discovery of the truth and the proper application of the laws to those facts. This requires a thorough and complete investigation by law enforcement that does not merely rely upon what is posted on social media. This takes time. As the investigation proceeds, the district attorney's office will continue to confer with law enforcement to monitor the status of the investigation and provide legal advice. Once a complete and thorough investigation has concluded, my office will review all the evidence and determine the appropriate cause of action. We will not make a decision until we know all the facts and we can determine what can be proven by admissible evidence in a court of law. Well, I can tell you what can be. How about that picture? How about the 3 people that took him to the hospital? There's some facts. After the district attorney's office decides what action should be taken, we will publicly announce our decision and explain the factual and legal bias for the chosen course of action. Oh, they're going to publicly announce that. I like that. At the appropriate time, a redacted copy of the investigative case file will be posted on our website at brunswickda.org under the tab for special interest cases, so the public can review the facts for themselves. Special interest cases. I wonder what that means. Like, if it means, like special victims unit means like sex crimes. I wonder if special interest cases mean like something like along those lines with like maybe mental health or something. While we understand the public interest in this case, we urge everyone to be patient and allow the investigation to take its due course. There is much misinformation about the matter on social media, and we ask you to not assume that social media posts are the actual facts of the case. That's why we're here. I'm here to give you the facts. The district attorney's office pledges to be as transparent as possible as this case moves forward, moves through our judicial system. Members of the media with further questions may contact Brunswick Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office, and it gives the phone number. So they're aware of the situation, but I don't know. They're aware of it. They're going to take care of it, they said, when they get all the facts. So I guess, that's good, I guess. I don't know. When I heard this from the chief of police, I think that's who he is. Let me see if it says on here. I'm sure he'll tell his name again. But this guy here, when he's talking, the way he just makes it sound like he calls them juveniles. I know that they're probably 17, 16, 17, 18 or whatever. But if you are able to be drinking some alcohol and you're able to be doing all of these disgusting acts on another human being while tying them down, you're as an adult as they come, buddy. You're in the big boys now. No more sandbox for you. But this guy wants to give him back his sandbox. And I think it's because of the parents having so much influence in the town. And I think I have to see if I have that paper. There was like a list that showed like what parent did what, and like one of them owned like a hardware store. One of them I think worked for the newspaper. I believe one of them was an officer. So the parents have like, yeah, one of the kids died. Yeah, Ellie. Yep, I think so, Mary. I think you're right. Yep, I think you're right. Yeah, so I think they were trying to boot scoot this up out of the news, and someone caught that picture. Someone put that picture out, and I don't know who the first person was, like first news anchor, news story to break it, but whoever it was, God bless you. God bless you for putting it. I know it's something that he's not going to want to ever have out there. Like, that's going to be terrible for him. That's why I didn't put anything like on the thumbnail or nothing that was like that. But I think that this is going to cause a big scene for that little coastal little town.
Individuals that were involved in the video as well as the photograph of the victim sitting in the chair. That took a lot of time. We've collected a lot of evidence that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is going to be helping us analyze. We've also looked at other aspects of this case. As of today, Investigators with the Glenn County Police Department and the Georgia Bureau of Investigations continue to look into social media posts that have been supplied to the office. While we do appreciate the information provided by this source, there has been some misinformation that is spread via this medium as well, some of which to include the misidentification of individuals that were not involved in this incident, which has affected many families here in our local community. The misinformation that's provided via social media can hamper an investigation because we will follow up on every lead that we receive, no matter where it comes from, which means that the investigator is drawn from other assignments of critical information of importance to this investigation to further it by following false leads. Like I said earlier, currently forensic analysis is being conducted on the devices collected, as well as information that we received from search warrants. That information, as well as evidence, is being sent off to be analyzed by the GBI lab. This isn't going to be an overnight investigation. The incident occurred on Tuesday. It was reported to us, and here we are over a week later, and we're still investigating. If we could just make a case off of one single photo or one single video without getting any other type of evidence, then that would not be a thorough investigation. And in this investigation, we owe it to this victim and to his family to make sure we get it right. If a picture could say 1,000 words, then the 1,000 words that picture would say was, that's a horrible incident that occurred, that what that victim went through. We can't rush to judgment. We have to take our time on this, and that's what we're doing. In our society, we should have a zero tolerance for bullying and the mistreatment of others. That goes for any student, that goes for any parent, that goes for any adult. And all I could ask is that when you see something, you have to say something. A lot of this incident was revealed via social media. There were a lot of juveniles that were at both of these incidents, and nothing was spoken when they were occurring. So I would ask that folks not be afraid to speak up. This incident may not have even been reported if the victim didn't end up in the hospital, which is really sad. I want to thank all of our law enforcement partners that have assisted us in this matter to date. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations, our District Attorney's Office, the Glenn County School Police, as well as the Federal Bureau of Investigations. That's all I have to say.
Would the people whose home this took place at, would they be responsible for anything? Would they possibly be facing criminal charges as well?
So we're not taking anything off the table. We're looking at this investigation from a holistic point of view. Not only the parents that the home that this occurred in, but we're also looking into where the alcohol was obtained from, as well as any type of narcotics.
We also know that this has been named a hazing investigation by your department. Originally logged as an assault call when it was put into the CAD system for your dispatchers, and then named a hazing incident in a press release from you all. According to our legal experts, this case doesn't fit the Georgia law for hazing. Is this still a hazing investigation for investigators?
I would agree with you. This does not meet Georgia code for hazing because it doesn't involve a public school event or organization that's related to a school. Our victim was an adult, as you're aware. The individuals that are involved in this, other individuals that are involved in this thing, are juveniles. So it would not rise to that definition. I agree.
And do you see yourself, the agency, arresting this, or do you believe that this will be a case presented to the grand jury?
We're going to collect the facts. That's our job. After we collect all the facts, then we'll consult with the district attorney's office, and we'll allow him to make that determination.
Have you had other calls to that house previously before this, any sort of other incidents?
No incidents of this magnitude or of this nature. We had a total of about 10 calls, I believe it was, from August or September of 2022 until a couple of days after the event. A lot of the calls that we had there revolved around or centered after this incident of officers going by doing neighborhood patrols and things of that sort.
Chief, was there a parent home while the drinking was taking place?
We're still investigating where we are on that.
There have been a number of threats that have been issued to there's been a list of families that may or may not be involved in this, not officially confirmed. I understand there have been some threats towards members of those families. Is that also being investigated?
We are going to look into that. Before I came into, I am aware of other folks that were misidentified that had nothing to do with this investigation. We will be looking into that if they make a complaint to our office.
Have you all looked further into the police report states that his father, Trent's father, told police that Trent had been to the hospital prior to that incident for a laceration over his eye and some other concerns that he had. Is that something that you all are looking for in this investigation as well?
We're looking at the whole combination of things, not just the incident with him sitting in the chair or the incident where he's being water hose is being used on him. But one of the things that we have to do is go back and re-interview our victim, right? We just recently had an opportunity to interview him for the first time back on Sunday. At that point in time, obviously, he was still being treated at a hospital. So we need to go back and re-interview him.
Chief, that picture of him in the chair and the video of him being hosed, are those two separate nights?
That is correct.
And the video of him being hosed, is that the night that the dad mentioned that he came home with Ago spray paint WD-40 on him?
I don't know if we've nailed that part down, but we have confirmed that those were two different nights or two different incidents.
Chief, just as happening in your community, the fact that it is so wrong and I guess has so many people upset just seeing this, hearing what happened as a member of this community, not just the police chief. What do you say to people who are looking now at Glynn County from across the country and saying, look what happened there?
It's a sad and misfortunate event. I want the rest of America, if you will, and from across the pond to understand that we, the citizens of Glynn County, are mostly very good people, hardworking people. This is an isolated incident, and don't judge Glynn County by one group of juvenile teens.
You said you identified all the individuals involved in the video and photos. How many individuals have you identified? What's that number?
So in the hosing incident, water hose incident, I believe there were 11 juveniles. In the second incident, there were 9 juveniles. Obviously, in some of those are duplicates, or some of the individuals are at both incidents.
Are there any possible charges that they could face as of now?
We're still working through that.
As of those people you identified, the 11 and the 9, are all of them juveniles or some of them over the age of, I guess you would say, over the age that are considered adults?
None of the individuals that we've identified would rise to that level.
Chief, just to clear up a
Individuals of the 11 juveniles and the 9 juveniles, were those some of the same juveniles that were in the 3 jobs?
those people you identified, the 11 and the 9, are all of them juveniles or some of them over the age of, I guess you would say, over the age that are considered adults?
None of the individuals that we've identified would rise to that level.
Chief, just
I just had to rewind that because I can't ever hear the questions, but he just was asked, are all these people that are, involved, are they all like juveniles? Are they older? And he said that they're pretty much all juveniles. So I was just wondering what he was saying there.
As for individuals of the 11 juveniles and the 9 juveniles, were those some of the same juveniles that were in the 3 job at the hospital that night?
They were.
Chief, just to clear up a misconception that's online, and I apologize if you already answered this and I missed this, but a lot of people were posting that the victim was on the spectrum or, had a mental disability. Is that something that's true? I just want to see if you can fact check it.
So we have interviewed the victim as well as his family. There is no information that we've been provided to support that claim.
Chief, has the family expressed any interest in wanting to press charges at this point?
They are fully cooperative with this investigation.
What are some of the charges? If they were to be charged, what would
I don't want to speculate on that. I want the facts to point where the facts show, and in consultation with the district attorney's office, we'll determine where we have enough probable cause to support a charge that's not only chargeable, but it's also prosecutable and it's winnable.
All right, we've only got time for 2 more questions. He's a busy man and we've got to go. We have a lot of things to take care of.
Can you tell us how many search warrants have been executed and in how many locations?
I have my headphones on so I could hear better. She just said, I don't know if you could hear her or not, but she said, we have time for 2 more questions. He's a busy man and has things to attend to. Well, what the F else does he have to attend to in his city that is more important than the kid that's on life support and the hospital? The only thing this guy should be thinking about is arresting them 4 teenagers. Woo, thank the Lord Jesus I don't have children, y'all. Y'all, that's why God didn't give me children. That's why he hasn't done that to me yet, because my kid would be in bubble wrap too. Best believe it. It'd be born with bubble wrap. Bubble wrap, and it would never have a friend. It would be sick all the time because I would never let it have a germ, you know. I'm just kidding. I would let it get germy, but you know what I mean. I would be like hugging them tighter. But yeah, this guy, he should be doing nothing but going and apprehending these kids. They should be at the very least, and I haven't heard this yet, that any of these kids have even been questioned really by the police. Put them in juvenile hall for something. Juvenile hall's easy peasy. Put them in there for a while. Let them sit. These kids have never had anything wrong probably happen in their life. They've probably never had a hardship. Well, it's going to be changing here soon.
I think that provides too much information in regards to the investigation. I'm not going to release that at this time.
Chief, disregarding that, because I think you probably would like to let people in this community know you are here to speak to them and answer their questions about this, and aren't too busy to do that. Would you say to those people, especially those hundreds that gathered at that vigil the other night, the DA's office is asking for patience here, but they remember another case here where it took 74 days for someone to be arrested. What do you say to the people in this community that are so upset that this took days to come out into the public, and now we're a week later and they say that arrest of them due?
This event took days to come out into the public out of respect for the victim's privacy. We looked at that. It was requested of us, and this was an incident that was isolated, that we believe that we had no other public threat going on.
Is there any surveillance video?
Is there surveillance?
From the hospital?
Yes, there is.
Is there clarity to it, or is that?
I have not viewed it personally. The investigators are working with the hospital staff on that.
That video has already obviously circulated social media. Is that something that you all, as the police department, plan to release on your behalf? Or is that something that?
I missed your question.
The video of social media has already circulated on social media, the video of Trent being vulnerable. Is that something that you all, as the police department, plan to release on the department itself?
Once we can, obviously, like you said, it's in the public forum on social media, but we're going to retain what we have here.
Chief, all these kids went to Glenn Academy. Are you going to be working with the school at all on trying to address this kind of behavior?
We've been working with Chief Rod Ellis with the school police on this investigation. That will be up to the school as far as what type of actions they take.
All right. Thank y'all all
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you, Chief.
I wonder if it was this lady talking right here. I don't like her, whoever she was. I don't like her at all. He's busy, man. The fudge. Trying not to cuss, because if I would have cussed every time I wanted to today, we'd have been in trouble. But really, though, this is a child in your community. Glenn County, how big are you? Let's see. Let me see. Right here. Let's see. Glenn County, Georgia. How many people? Population 84,000. You can handle it. You're fine. You're cool. You're not in a huge city where there's a bunch of shit going on. It's so insane. But I think they did bring the FBI in. I think that I did hear that they did bring the FBI in. So that's good. Yeah, I mean, this guy was... Oh, man, I wish we could be asking... Yeah, we should be asking the questions. There's some people that ask some good questions. That guy at the end, I'm going to have to put the headphones back on and listen to it again and have to like type it out for you guys what he said. But I swear he said something like, I don't know if you can answer my question because, yeah, you're so busy and all, or something like along those lines. I think he said it to him back. I was like, oh, he's giving it to him. It's crazy. It's so crazy to me. But yeah, I think that they should at least be rounding up these kids and getting some statements, getting them locked down into a story. Hopefully they've done that. Hopefully they have separated those kids and just got them got their statements. Because if not, they're going to be hanging out with each other, statementing it up. What are you going to say, buddy? Oh, yeah, you say that, I'll say this. Hate crime. I think this could be a hate crime. This should be. Is that a law? Like if you pick on somebody because of their mental disability, is that considered a hate crime though? If not, there needs to be a law for that. That's something I don't know. Oh, yeah, no, he's got to go get the donuts and the coffee. He's got to go to the Dunkin' first. This guy in the blue's looking at him like, come on, Chief, we got to go. Dunkin' opens in 20 minutes. And then I wanted to show you guys this, too, this little video here. This comes from one of their, I think it's by Brett Buffington. He is the guy that was on the Quentin Simon case a lot. I can turn my camera on, but he was on Quentin's case. He did a lot of like Twittering. Like I would always follow him on Twitter, get his updates. He is tweeting out updates on this case like soon as they come. So if you don't follow Brett Buffington over on Twitter, make sure you do. Make sure you follow me at TitaniumBuilt as well. If you stated specifically yes, okay. Race, religion, and gender too. Okay. For some reason in my head, I was like, is that considered, But I mean, I'm glad it is. I'm so glad. It's just, oh, that's just so sad. It's so sad. And I do think this is one of the one of the worst cases we've covered on this channel. It's just probably the most disturbing almost. It has to be up there. I don't know. This might be the most disturbing. This is, they're all kind of disturbing, but this one like takes the cake, you know what I mean? Like this poor guy. And then just to think he just wanted to have friends, like that just breaks my heart. But he's got he's got a lot of friends now. We're here for you, dude. And I'm glad that he's doing better. As of right now, he's doing better than what he was a couple days ago.
Lehrkamp was dropped off at a Brunswick hospital, barely breathing. His alcohol level almost 6 times what law enforcement considers intoxicated.
Glynn County Police now investigating what it calls a hazing incident. As we first told you last night, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has also joined this case. Last night, dozens of people showing up at a vigil in Brunswick to show their support for the 19-year-old, many calling for charges to be filed in this case. But tonight, another day that no one has been arrested or charged in the disturbing attack on the teen.
WSAV's lead investigative reporter Brett Buffington is live from the hospital in Brunswick tonight. Once again, he has new exclusive details to share. Brett?
And Tina, here today we have learned that it was a security guard at this hospital who alerted police. The dispatcher who took his call originally classified this as an assault. Over the weekend, the police department here called it hazing, and people who live in this community do not agree with that.
City dispatch, Hello, yes, this is Officer Charles at the hospital.
8:46 p.m. last Tuesday, an officer at this hospital called dispatch just moments after Trent Lehrkamp was dropped off at the entrance to this emergency room. The three teens who delivered him left their names and took off.
For possible hazing. Son getting hazed and all. Yeah, son getting hazed.
Glynn County Police, in a statement Monday night, says investigators have talked with the teens involved. Tonight, the WSAV investigative unit knows one of those teenagers is Edward Rooker Hobby. This is him in this Snapchat photo, standing behind Trent Lehrkamp. He was 17 years old last November when police took his mugshot, arrested for criminal trespassing. The police report for that arrest says Hobby shattered a mirror and a pot at the house where he lived with his mom.
I'm sorry, but just look at that face. Doesn't that look like the face of a bully? He looks like he's going to do something worse than just be knocking over some plants at his mom's house.
When the police tried to get his side of the story, the officer wrote that Hobby told him to either make an arrest or leave him alone. The teen spent 3 days in jail. But notable, in the 17-year-old's police report, his mother told the officer that Hobby has a drinking problem. Monday, when we reached out to Hobby's mother,
Okay. How can you have a drinking problem when you're 16 or 17 years old? Who the hell's buying the alcohol and who the hell's giving him money? If he has a job, okay, then that's how he gets money. But let's just say he doesn't. Who's giving him money? Mom and dad. Who's buying the alcohol? Like, if he has a drinking problem, lock his ass up in the house. Don't leave alcohol in the house. Don't put alcohol in your home. I just don't understand. How can this kid be so young and have a drinking problem? Like, yeah, where's he getting the booze? Where's he getting it? Like, unless you're making hooch out of like some fruit, you know, like you looking up some recipes on how to do some prison shit, then you're not going to be drinking or getting it at 16. These kids, he's not walking into the Speedway saying, I'm going to take this in a six pack and pack cigarettes, you know, like even if he had a fake ID, people would be like, So it's definitely not him getting it. It's, you know, I mean, he just looks too young too.
St. Simons Island realtor Angela Hobby, she told us she was, quote, praying for everyone and all of the families involved. Other than the Lehrkamps, the WSAV investigative unit has learned at least one of those families is the owner of this St. Simons hardware store, James and Lauren Strother, who owned this house where at least one of the 3 attacks on Trent happened. But tonight we simply cannot tell you here who the names of the other teenagers involved in this are, but we know who they are, and we are working to learn everything we can about them as we wait to see if anyone will be arrested or charged in Trent Lehrkamp's case. We are live in Glynn County tonight in Brunswick.
That's Brett. He said he ain't leaving there either until he gets some answers for this family. So I appreciate that. What was that? I thought I just heard someone at my house. Okay, well, if you don't hear me for a minute, let me put my camera on. If you don't hear from me for a minute, someone got me. I don't know. You know I'd be hearing stuff. It was probably the dog. Yeah, they end up revealing their names. I think that they do anyway. And then I have this one. I have a couple more. Yeah, I have a couple more clips to show you guys. Because this case like really started blowing up. Like I said, I watch News Nation a lot just because that just on my cable provider. It's just who's there, and it's who I like. I like to watch like, you know, Kumo and stuff. So this is where I first heard about it. And then last night on the live, or we did a members only live, I said something about, you know, doing the case, starting this case today, because I felt like his voice needed to be heard. I've seen one other creator do a video on him, but that's all I've seen so far. But I'll play this, and then I'm going to go check on my dogs real quick, see if they're being good.
Investigating a case of hazing in Georgia that involved unspeakable humiliation of a teenager. His family called some of the acts torture. His quote unquote friends dropped him off at the hospital later that night, where he's still in the ICU. And today, the police said, shockingly, they haven't made any arrests.
Forensic analysis is being conducted on the devices collected, as well as information that we received from search warrants. That information, as well as evidence, is being sent off to be analyzed by the GBI lab. This isn't going to be an overnight investigation. In our society, we should have a zero tolerance for bullying and the mistreatment of others.
Not an overnight investigation. Joining us now, Brian Enton, who really broke this story for a national audience last night when you were filling in on Abrams. I know you've gotten an enormous response about this. It seems obvious. Child is spray painted, humiliated, forced to ingest alcohol, who's underage. There appears to be so many crimes that would be committed. What's the disconnect here?
Yeah, I mean, Leland, it goes beyond any kind of bullying or anything like that, or hazing. I don't even think hazing is the right word. It's really just torture, what happened to this young man, this 19-year-old. And it's on video, and there's pictures, and that is why the community in St. Simons Island, Georgia, is just frustrated and angry that an arrest hasn't been made. It's been 8 days, and in some of these photos and videos, you see this kid so drunk that he can barely breathe. He almost died. You see him there in the ICU. They urinated on him. They spray painted him. They defecated on him. They were spraying him with a garden hose in one video, and now everybody's just saying, what's taken so long? They want to see some arrests made, Leland.
All right, so here's the Trent update. He's not dead. He's stable, still in the ICU, recovering and fighting through some lung infection from the aspiration. Lightly sedated as he's very panicked and anxious when awake. You can imagine if you went through the trauma that he did before he went unconscious, that he would have these feelings as he was waking up. What's his prognosis? And for that matter, if we've seen this before, if you sort of are engaged in these behaviors with people, aside from underage consumption of alcohol, is there a chance that there will be no charges in this?
I mean, look, the thing here is this is a kid who just wanted to fit in, Leland, and just
were these
wanted
like the
to
cool
have
kids
friends.
in town?
Yeah, it seems like it's that kind of a situation. He just wanted to fit in. The good news is I did just talk to one of the family friends who says he's now out of the ICU. That just recently happened. So he seems to be doing better, but I mean, it's awful.
Yeah, it's horrific. What would be more horrific is if the people who did this seem to think they can get away with it, which at least so far, until some of your reporting, it possibly would have exactly that. It would have happened. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
Whenever this guy's out in the public, and his hair's not done, he always looks like he needs like the worst haircut I've ever seen. But he actually has his hair done today, which is kind of funny to me. Yeah, there's just no words for this. There's no word. Like, I don't understand how these kids are still out there walking around. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm sure they're not just hanging out at home. But maybe they are, because I don't know. I mean, I'm imagining their life is probably hell right now. Would you, if you were a 17 or 16-year-old girl and you found out your little boyfriend was doing this, I wouldn't be dating that little boy no more. I know I'd be saying, sorry, buddy. But that's just me. I used to be pretty mean back in the day. When it came to breaking up with people, my mom said she used to make fun of me for that. She says, "You're just so mean, Tanya." I said, "It's like ripping off a Band-Aid, Mom. If you're done with a relationship, you're done." I was mean, I guess. That's why I only had one boyfriend. That's probably why. Now I'm on my second. I'm just kidding. I had a couple more than that. I'm just kidding. Let me see the next video here. Also, this one, a family friend comes out and talks to Brian Enton, I believe. He does look like Mitt Romney. You are so right. I knew he looked like someone, like he looked familiar. You are so right. But yeah, I doubt that those boys that did this to him, I'm doubting their friends are going to want to hang out with them. I'm sure maybe the group of 4 that are in trouble together, maybe, but I'm assuming maybe outside people won't want to be associated with them. They did pour alcohol. Yes. And pills, like antidepressants. I mean, oh my Lord. Like an antidepressant and alcohol? I couldn't imagine. Like, because I don't drink. And so he probably drinks as much as I drink. And, I mean, you know, he's 19, so I doubt he drinks a lot. And I just couldn't imagine just somebody pouring alcohol. Oh, yeah, I saw that Teresa put the GoFundMe in there if you guys want to help Trent. They have collected a little over $100,000, which is good, but they're going to need so much more. He probably, if not, I mean, I'm going to be 90% on this. I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to say 80 to 90% sure that he's going to need a lot of aftercare after this. Even if his head's okay, like mentally or whatever, emotionally, he's going to be messed up, and he may need to learn how to walk again, use his arms, his limbs again, talk again. If your brain doesn't have activity for a certain amount of time, those are some things that you lose and you have to relearn them if you're able to. Just hope that he is at a really good hospital, you know. So the only thing so that's what they're saying. Like, so they're saying that this isn't attempted murder, which I think that this is in my book, but they're saying that it's not because they attempted to get him help because they took him to the hospital. I'm like, to me, that doesn't make no damn sense. Not in my book. Okay, so let me play this next video here for you guys. I'm going to grab a couple of Advil.
Now the latest on that disturbing story we brought you last night. A teenager in Georgia, by all accounts, tortured by a group of young boys he thought were his friends. Well, he's still hospitalized tonight. Now the FBI is joining the investigation, and we're learning the identity of one of those possibly involved. 19-year-old Trent Lehrkamp was forced to binge on vodka and magic mushrooms. So-called friends also spray painted him, even urinated him. They then dropped him off at a hospital where he was fighting for his life on a ventilator. Now, we showed you this horrific picture last night of Trent sitting in a chair, unconscious and covered in spray paint and urine among other disgusting things. I mean, we don't even want to say all of it on TV. While other teenage boys just stood behind him making obscene gestures, like almost proud of it, taking a picture. It's really not easy to look at. As you can see, one of the faces is no longer blurred in that picture. The investigative team at our affiliate in Savannah has identified that one boy as Edward Hobby.
Could they charge them as a gang? Like, I don't know what that would be. I mean, I'm no lawyer here, but I know you guys know a little more than I do about this stuff. But I mean, because literally it looks to me like a gang initiation or it's a gang of kids. Like, I feel like there's like something punishable in that. And he looks like he's an asshole. I'm sorry to tell his parents that if they're listening, but your kid looks like he's an asshole. I wouldn't even want to hang out with him. Like, I mean, look at this kid's face. Oh, Lordy. Aggravated manslaughter. Magic said. I was thinking manslaughter if they could do that. Yeah, like this kid right here, he's just, to me, he's speaking, I'm going to do something bad. I mean, oh my Lord, I don't even think you could, besides killing somebody, I mean, besides him dying, that it couldn't get any, I feel like it almost couldn't get any worse for this guy. I mean, all this stuff they did to him, all the stuff that they did to him. I couldn't even imagine.
And this isn't the first time he's been in trouble with the police. You see, he's got a mugshot. He was arrested last November, charged with criminal trespass and spent 3 days in jail. Edward was 17 years old at the time. And to be clear, police, they have not charged him in connection with this hazing case. But he's likely a key part of the ongoing investigation into what happened to this teenager. The local community is demanding justice for the teen, calling for police to take action in the case. And earlier today, the local police finally spoke publicly about the incident. It's been 8 days, saying they've made some significant progress in the investigation.
The investigators that have been involved in this incident have been working very diligently on collecting evidence, interviewing subjects, and at this point in time, we've identified all individuals that were involved in the video as well as the photograph of the victim sitting in the chair. That took a lot of time. We've collected a lot of evidence that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is going to be helping us analyze.
So no arrests have been made more than a week after the incident. It's still unclear if anyone will end up facing charges. This case sparked outcry in the community to the point where it is finally receiving national attention. It was initially called hazing, a word that it really just doesn't describe what happened. That's even what the officials initially called it. When you really research it and you look at the pictures and the videos, it's torture and it is assault. Earlier, I spoke with Erica Keller, who organized a GoFundMe page on behalf of Trent. She is also a close friend of the family. Erica, thank you so much for joining us. I know this has been such a difficult time for you and also for Trent's family. I can't even imagine. So many of us are just heartbroken over this story and also angry. First of all, I want to ask you how Trent is doing. I know at one point he was in the ICU. Is there any update on his condition?
So yesterday morning he was transferred out of the ICU actually. And he has a long road to recovery, so I can't say he's doing well, but definitely glad. I'm personally glad that he's out of, I'm sure we're all glad that he's out of the ICU right now. That's really good news.
Yeah, from reading the reports, I mean, when he first arrived at the hospital, he was just in a terrible, terrible condition. It's really a miracle that he's even alive. I was thinking, you know, it's not just physical that he's going to have to recover from, but I mean, just the emotional aspect of going through this.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thinking that these people are your friends and then having them absolutely abuse you, and I can't imagine sitting through that and just the laughter that he must have heard during everything that they did to him. It gives me chills. It really breaks my heart.
I know you're close with Trent's family. How are they doing right now?
They're holding up. They're very, very much overwhelmed with, you know, what Trent has gone through. They're overwhelmed, but with all of the love and support that they're getting from everyone. I know that it was a dark few days after when Trent was in the ICU. So now that he's out and all of the support that he's been shown, I know that their spirits are a little lighter, but you know, there's still so long to go from where we are right now.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find.
So yeah, that just explained that he was out of the ICU, which is excellent news. I mean, I know so he was exasperating, I guess, on the alcohol. And I think that's why, and I think with all the other stuff too, that's a lot of the reason why he couldn't breathe. I know that they put him, it sounded like when we were reading over the paperwork that they put him in a medically induced coma and then incubated him almost so that they could help him breathe. That's what they did with my mom. When my mom had all 3 strains of pneumonia. And when they did that to her, like this, I'm gonna give this guy some real big credit right now, because it took 72 days to get my mom off that ventilator. And he's pulling like, I don't know, man. He's pulling through this. Like, I don't know how. I wouldn't. Yeah, he has siblings. He has a sister, I believe, Mary, because it had her name redacted, but I believe he has a sister, I believe a stepmother, and then a father we've heard about. I don't know if his mom's no, his mom passed, so I forgot already. I forgot that again. But his mom passed away, that's heartbreaking. Such your mom, you know? The dogs are acting crazy out there. I thought Vincent was here, and I wrote him, and he's like, no, maybe people moving, but they already moved out. Our neighbors moved out today, too. Dan Abrams, I got you in a good spot. I'll have to see if Nancy has done an episode over this, too. So, I have one more video to play for you guys, and I'll check and see if she has done anything for this. I think it was this one, though. Yeah.
Attorney David Bianchi, a trial lawyer who has, we bring in Daniel's father and sister, Tom Santulli and Meredith Santulli, and their attorney David Bianchi, a trial lawyer who has obtained the largest fraternity hazing verdict in the country, winning tens of millions of dollars for hazing victims and their families. Good to have all of you with us, and I want to thank the members of the family for joining us. I know this is, I'm sure, very hard for you.
Okay, they said that was his dad and who is his sister? Trying to read real quick. Sorry, guys. I'll just rewind it if nothing else, but I think that's who they were saying. I'll just rewind it real quick.
We bring in Daniel's father and sister, Tom Santulli and Meredith Santulli, and their attorney, David Bianchi, a trial lawyer who has obtained the largest fraternity hazing verdict in the country, winning tens of millions of dollars for hazing victims and their families. Good to have all of you with us, and I want to thank the members of the family for joining us. I know this is, I'm sure, very hard for you every time to relive what happened to Danny. Tom, you know, why is it that you feel justice has not been served here? And I know there are two specific individuals who you feel bear responsibility for what happened to your son.
Well, I feel like within Missouri there's an anti-hazing law which is pretty strict, and after speaking with David, my lawyer, he agrees it's well written. And after reviewing all the evidence, the surveillance, the videos, the text messages, the chat sessions, it's all right there. It's all right there for you. So it was actually handed to the prosecutor on a silver platter. So that's my whole point, is that they need to enforce the anti-hazing law in Missouri.
Yeah, David, why wouldn't they enforce this anti-hazing law? It could potentially save future lives or save others from being injured to the extent that Danny was, which is horrible.
Martha, there is no explanation for why this is not being done. None. It's a complete mystery. This is a slam dunk hazing case under Missouri law. There are countless hours of real-time surveillance video, which you almost never have in a hazing case, but we have it here. There's a 144-page police report. Everything the prosecutors need are there. Read the hazing statute. Every fraternity officer and everybody who participated in this is guilty of hazing under the Missouri statute, but after 8 months, they're refusing to bring the charges, and nobody can understand it.
You know, you make a great point. The video that you're looking at is surveillance video, which I believe this fraternity knew these cameras were active in this building, right, David?
That's correct. I mean, who in their right mind would do this to somebody with surveillance cameras?
Unreal. Well, they obviously have no fear of being caught. They know that some of the supporters of the fraternity and other entities, and apparently the prosecutor's office, are not willing to pursue the laws that actually are on the books here. Meredith, I know that you spoke with Danny that week.
I'm just going to interrupt her because I don't agree with that. I think these kids do these things because they don't think about the consequences. I don't think it's they're thinking, oh yeah, the school's going to have my back if this guy dies. I think it's these kids are just being dumb ass kids that aren't raised right. Their frontal lobe is not freaking formed. They are just, you know what I mean? They're not thinking right. Like they're not. They're young. I mean, they're young kids. Like, I don't want to give anybody an excuse for anything because there's no excuse for this. There is absolutely zero. There's negative excuses for this. But if you're talking about in a school setting, fraternity setting, I just feel like that's a little different when you have 100 guys compared to 4 guys doing something. These 4 guys, they knew better than to be like, let's just cut out the alcohol and let's cut out them shoving the drugs down his throat. Everything else they did to him, like what? That's not even hazing. No one even does that when they're hazing people. I've never seen that in no college fraternity where they've done anything like this. I've seen, drink, like the lady was saying earlier, drink bottle of alcohol, something stupid of that nature. But this I've never seen. This is beyond even, like, I don't even know how to explain this. There's just no words.
And he was concerned about what was happening during this hazing process. What was he telling you?
I saw him that Saturday night, a couple days before, and he broke down to me at the house and was just saying, I can't take this anymore. I'm failing on my classes. I have no money. And I just kept telling him, it's okay if you want to drop. I mean, you still have friends. No one will give you any type of criticism. And he just, decided to stick with it. And after that, I called my parents and I was just really concerned for his well-being. And then a couple days later, I saw him that Tuesday, hours before the accident happened, and he seemed...
I thought this was, I thought this was Trent's dad and his sister, but this is for this other guy. But I'm going to continue to play it, though, so we can listen to this about the hazing. But I was so sorry, I was under the wrong impression when I read that. But this is about the one with the student that we saw in the beginning, where he was on the couch and he's now unable to see and I guess talk as well. This is terrible.
Okay, I dropped him off at the house, and then later that night, his life changed forever.
Oh. I mean, it is so barbaric to ask people to drink an entire bottle of vodka, as is alleged in this case. This is such a beautiful, handsome young man, and he still is. And I'm glad you still have your son, Tom. How is Danny doing?
Danny's Danny, right? So we're always going to remember him as Danny. We still have him. That first dreadful weekend down in Columbia, Missouri, when it was really, really bad, we didn't know if he was going to live. We all got together, the 4 of us, and we said, we want Danny alive, one way or another. We're parents, we're siblings. And that was our goal, and we got him alive. He has a long road, Martha, a very long road. A couple of things here and there, in and out of the hospital with some infections, but we're going to manage it. So it's tough.
I'm so sorry. You're a wonderful family, and we wish Danny and all of you the best. There's not a parent I have 2 boys, roughly college age as well. There's not a parent whose son goes through this process who doesn't worry every single day, and it needs to be stopped. This behavior cannot go on. It is absolutely barbaric, and we see what is the result of it. We've seen deaths. Many deaths across the country, in fact, and we see what happened to Danny. So, David, we hope you can get somewhere with this prosecution. We hope you'll keep in touch with us on this case. And Tom and Meredith, all the best.
This is worse than barbaric, in my opinion. This is disgusting. This is absolutely incomprehensible. I mean, how did they, I wonder, okay, so this is what I'm thinking. How'd they get him to sit in that chair and let him, put the restraints on him? They had to have either made him drink alcohol with them to where, they got him a little intoxicated and then he was sitting down and they kind of overpowered him, or they just overpowered him altogether. Because I don't see Trent sitting there after okay, because he's been over there before and he's gotten hurt before. He had the eye problem. He had, he went home with WD-40 all over him, amongst other things, just the week before. So I see him putting himself back in that position in a way, like with those guys, which, Trent, buddy, don't do that again. Don't hang out with them anymore. Well, you got all of us now. But I just don't see him being like, yeah, just go ahead and strap my arms down. You know what I mean? I think he would have the wherewithal to know these guys are messing with me again. And yeah, they literally they were shoving it down his throat. I think they took mushrooms and he was smashed. I heard that too. I heard something about shrooms and then antidepressants we read earlier, but oh my Lord, have mercy. I don't know what, other than the Lord himself, but that boy's body is a powerhouse or something. If he was able to, he's coming out of this, we're slowly working there. There may be long-term effects, there may be a lot of long-term things, but for him to be able to go through what he went through, and then, oh my Lord, I feel for his parents. Oh my Lord. Because his stepmom's probably close to him and his dad is very close to him. Can you imagine you see your son at 8 or 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, 4:45 in the afternoon, and by that evening, he's incubated, he's on a ventilator. And when you're ventilated and stuff like that, you swell, when things happen, like trauma and stuff. So he probably didn't even look like himself. It's just so sad. I did see this on Twitter. It says, it's from Brett Buffington. It's the same reporter. So he says that he's clarifying. So it's the Glenn County Police Chief said there are 10 calls over the last 7 months at the home where at least one of the attacks happened. Police records given to us today only show 2, but the police chief said that there was 10 calls. What the heck? And then there's a bunch of spam one here. I don't know why there's so many. So right here, yeah. And there's the house. They better put their house up for sale. I'll mail them a for sale sign. That kid's going to need a lot of medical. Yeah, they tell you not to even drink with antidepressants. And then, oh my God, man. Yeah, still very fragile, yes. But compared to when he went in, my Lord, 6 breaths a minute. Oh my, I can't even try. And I wonder why. Why? I'm always one of those, I'm a person that wants to know. I want to know why when things happen, and there's no why. I bet you there's no damn why to this. There's going to be, they're just assholes. And it's where were the parents? I heard that I heard he's in LE, but I don't know how high he's up, how high up he is. And then another one of the parents owned a hardware store. One of the parents, I think worked at the hospital maybe. One of the parents works at the newspaper. I mean, they all have these jobs that I guess they think they're going to keep. I don't think they're going to be keeping a lot of them. A lot of these is just spam stuff, but yeah, it just says he's still in the hospital. I think that's really it. What's this? I don't know what that is. I think it's just random things though. So I think some of these are just bad links, I'll have to look online to get the right ones. But yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, you guys are both got the abduction alert. Or Amber Alert. Just a bird. Yeah, they have the kids that did it. They just haven't done anything to them yet. They're just hanging out, I guess, at home. I mean, you can't even tether them to like an ankle monitor, which I mean, that works like shit. They never work. You have to have like a home landline, unless they've changed in the last 8 to 10 years. But before you had to have a home phone line. Who has one of those? But I mean, can't they do something with those kids? Put them in like JDC for assault, battery, and then add more charges? That's what I would do. At least get them locked into a little story. Someone became a member over on my on my store. I was like, who is that? But actually, and then and then Nancy hasn't done anything about him yet. I did check that just in case Isabel. I checked Fox Nation because I didn't know if you did Fox Nation too. So what they're saying, just a bird, is they're saying not attempted murder because they attempted to take him to the hospital. They attempted to get him help, which I still think that's bullcrap. It's just, to me, I think that's just bullcrap. I feel for this guy, 19 years old. Got the rest of his life. And the other kid that just can't even see anymore because of his college, his fraternity. He can't see, can't talk. Yeah, toddler miss. I think, AZ, did that just happen or did I hear that earlier about the Florida mother? Because I thought I saw a case earlier today that was really like the toddler was missing, but the mom was found dead. Wait, hold on. It was on my Twitter. Let me see. Hold on. Let's just go back to the home page. It was like, I thought it was like right at the beginning. Maybe not. I'll skim through real quick. I swear I thought I saw. Where they said, where there was like, it was a little baby. Right here. Is this her? Oakley? Oh, that's in North Carolina. But, oh yeah, and this was, her mom was arrested. I just saw this little girl's face earlier and I thought this little girl's face was just the cutest. Oh no, you're okay, just a bird. Oh, that was just 15 minutes ago? Okay. Yeah, this was 5 hours ago. Never mind. I didn't know. I didn't see it. I didn't think about that. That's a different, but look at her. She's cute. I feel so bad. It says, she was carried. Oh my gosh. Oakley Snow was last seen in Indianapolis. We'll retweet it. Oh wait, did I already retweet it? I don't know if I did. I don't think I did. She was carried out of the house while mom was asleep. Wait, hold on. Mom's arrested though. Oakley girl 2 was carried out of the house by mom while asleep or unconscious before vanishing. Oh my Lord. Lordy, Lordy. What's going on with people? Let me see if we can snoop anything else out about Trent. Actually, I should just go to... We'll just go straight to the source. Oh, look at that. Grand jury in New York has indicted former President Donald Trump. There's my politics for the day. That's all I got for you. Yeah, I wonder what happened to that other child. Keep me updated, Teresa, if you find anything out. Kids are just disappearing everywhere. Stop messing with the children. I did hear, I think I heard something about Simon or Quentin Simon though. Like something about them maybe bringing him back over to be buried or something. Did I hear that right? Yeah. So they're returned to Georgia. They returned to Georgia. It says Quentin Simons. Let me see. Quentin Simons' remains brought back to Georgia following analysis at an FBI lab. Wow. That poor baby. Like, put him to rest. Oh, man. Oh, I'm missing a little boy. Oh, Taylon Mosley. That's a cute name. Too many people are going missing. Too many babies. I feel like I'm going to have like a wall of like missing flyers one day. But that is all I really have for you guys for today. I do have a few videos for Idaho 4. I'll show you guys those tomorrow, and we'll talk tomorrow. But Vincent's not home, so I guess I'll just go take the dogs out. I was expecting him to be home so he could do it. The West Boys trial is going on now. I didn't get into that case. I know nothing about it. I need to look into it just so I know. It seems like when I first started true crime, I'm like, well, I've covered, I don't know how many. I forget. It's a lot. We counted one time. It was like 30 or something crazy. But we've covered a lot of cases on this channel. But I do want to, start covering some more. Like, I thought about starting, maybe even doing Lori Daybell, because that woman's just all kinds of, messed up and creepy, and she's going to court. And then we do still have, Letitia Stouch, which she's going to be going to courts, or she's still going, they're picking her jury, doing her thing. And then Sarah Boone. And then I don't have my paper with me. Oh, there it is. It's up there. April, Brian Walsh will be going back to court. And then May, we do have something in May now. I can't remember. Sarah Wander, I think. And then June is Kohlberger. And someone else. Oh, yeah, Delphi. Richard Allen. June's going to be a big, big month for us here on this channel. So everybody be good. Like, not you guys. You guys are always good. But everybody else be good, because I'm not going to be able to take on a lot more cases. Because we're going to be, like, trialing it up. Van life. Yep, Sarah Boone. She'll have her day, too. Yep. Can't wait. But, yeah, you guys have a good day. What'd you say, Tanya? Do you think the defense attorney saying Kay is not a grandmother? Oh, I saw that. I don't know if... Okay, so... I saw that on TV last night, where Lori's trying to get it to where the grandparents can't be in the courtroom. Nope. No. I mean, like, I don't even know how much I can say no. Like, they can't do that. They have every right to be in that courtroom, and they have every right to see justice done for Tylee and her brother. Oh my gosh. And Ryan. Oh my gosh. That just makes me so mad. I saw that, I saw it last night on the news, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Because everybody deserves to see the person that's being accused in court. And I think she's doing it because she wants to try to hold some power over them, which she's, and I can't wait. I hope that they better come back and say that she's allowed it. They're allowed in there. So, or you'll hear me really ranting. But you guys have a good day. I love you all. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.